All right, we are definitely going to have to talk about this Tee Higgins concussion situation. It definitely seems like the Bengals have tried to circumvent the concussion protocol by putting Tee Higgins back in the game after getting banged up again. He had a concussion on November 23rd. He missed Week 13 due to that concussion, and now on the third drive of this game versus the Bills, he smacks his head against the ground really hard going up for an acrobatic catch along the sideline. And he definitely looked like he was hurt. We're going to watch the video here in a second, but he was down for a very long time. They actually had to go to commercial break on a 2nd and 10. This is not something that happens very often. And yeah, we're just going to let it play here.
Steps up, floats it for Higgins, trying to take advantage of his size. A circus catch attempt, but no good with the coverage from Tre'Davious White. You can already see how happy Joe Burrow is to have Tee Higgins back in this game. Higgins 4 catches with a touchdown. And if I'm a defense trying to defend these Bengals at this point, I got Higgins on one side, I got Chase on the other, and I got Gesicki running down the middle.
And that is probably the best shot you just had there. As you can see, he comes down on his back, and the back of his head just smacks the ground really hard. And he's there for a very long time, sitting on the ground just like this. And he only misses the rest of that drive. The next time the Bengals come back on the field, he's back in the game. Obviously, the Bengals were trying to make the playoffs, and this was a very important game for them. But I do think it's kind of unacceptable to let him come back in the game. At that point, it definitely looks like he's experiencing concussion symptoms, and he has a history on November 23rd, recent history of a concussion. That is a clear violation of the protocol as written on the NFL website. I'm going to show you that here. But yeah, we'll look at this play first. Later on in the game, fourth quarter, catches this one over the middle, hits his head against the ground again. This time not nearly as hard of a hit. But yeah, obviously on this one, he is in a lot of pain and definitely is not quick to get up. Again, appearing to show symptoms of a concussion. And yeah, this is just clearly a violation of the protocol, as we're going to check out here. This is the NFL website where they kind of talk about this stuff. They have basically a guideline of how they do this stuff, I guess. And this is what you would call a sideline survey. Obviously, he did not even miss a whole drive. He only missed the rest of that drive. He definitely did not go back into the locker room. They just took his helmet and did an evaluation on the sideline. And he had history of an event on November 23rd. He was showing concussion signs, okay? And then, it says video review there. If you watch that video, I don't know how you could not think he had a concussion after laying there, or maybe like a neck injury possibly. But if he had a neck injury, I don't see why he would have just come back in the game like that. And yeah, it says here for sideline survey, they do a spinal exam as well as evaluate the speech and an observation of gait, which from what I understand is just kind of motor function. Observing how the player walks and stuff like that, make sure they're not losing their balance and stuff like that. And then just kind of like eye movement, looking for any like irregularities. And then if you look at the locker room exam, this is what they clearly did not do, where they bring him to the locker room, do the team physician for some further testing basically, which there's no way he would have passed that based on what we just saw. And yeah, I'm pretty upset about this one, and I think a lot of fans of NFL should be upset. This is one where the Bengals should definitely receive a hefty fine and possibly have draft picks taken away. This was a really bad mishap on national television. This is a game that had a lot of eyeballs on it, and they cannot hide this one. A lot of people were watching because they were wondering if the Bengals were going to make the playoffs. This was an important game for a lot of fans, and they just decided to let Tee Higgins play because they wanted to make the playoffs. It's really that simple, this one. And I really don't think there's any way they can argue otherwise. Anyways, that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching.